An expensive car, an apartment with a city view, status you can practically touch. All the boxes on the life achievement list are checked. But inside, a deafening silence. This isn't a story about someone far away. This is a fear that lives in everyone striving for the top, the fear of one day reaching the summit and finding nothing there. This feeling isn't a personal failure. It's a well-studied psychological phenomenon, hedonic adaptation, or the hedonic treadmill. In this video, we won't just analyze Maslow's hierarchy. We'll dissect it. We'll find the system bug that makes it fail for 90% of people. And I'll show why the true key to self-actualization isn't at the top, but on the most overlooked floor. Here's the core conflict. A person has met all the needs society deems important: money, security, respect, but can still feel utterly lost and unhappy. The formula, success equals happiness, breaks down. And it's not just a feeling. The longest study on happiness in history, an 80-year Harvard University study, showed that the main predictor of well-being isn't money or status, but the quality of our relationships. We're used to blaming ourselves, but what if the problem is with the formula itself? Today we'll discover why we've all misunderstood Maslow. We'll activate the survival programming, a hidden code at the security level that blocks everything else. We'll examine two types of self-esteem, one of which leads to a dead end. And finally, I'll show you the pyramid's lost floor, the level of transcendence, which Maslow himself added late in life, but which is curiously unmentioned in business schools. This is the image we were sold: simple, clear, step by step. And now, the truth. Maslow himself never depicted his theory as such a rigid pyramid. This shape was popularized by management consultant Charles McDermott in the 1960s. He wanted to turn a profound humanistic theory into a simple tool for employee motivation. And in this simplification lies the root of the main error. Reality is far more complex and more interesting. Maslow didn't see it as a ladder, but rather as a mixing board. All your needs, safety, love, esteem, these are active audio channels. They never turn off. At different times in life, the volume of one might be cranked up, but the others continue to hum softly in the background. The idea of fulfilling one level and moving to the next, that's a convenient lie. It's not a workable model for a living human being. Maslow himself called humans perpetual wanting animals. As soon as one need is satisfied, the next immediately arises. This isn't philosophy, it's neurobiology. Our dopamine system rewards us more for anticipating a reward than for receiving it. We are biologically programmed for the chase, not for possession. Our introductory character was mistaken. He thought he could complete a level and forget about it. But the lower floors never turn off. Stop for a second. Right now, which of your needs is screaming the loudest? Not the one you think you should be focused on, but the one that truly dominates. Psychologists call this a prepotent need, the one that holds the most sway over your behavior. Financial stability, acute loneliness, a craving for recognition? The answer might surprise you. But even within this flexible system, there's one fundamental level, one we all assume is met by default. A malfunction in its operation is like a virus in an operating system. It prevents any higher-order programs from launching. This level holds veto power from our ancient reptilian brain. If it senses a threat, it can instantly shut down all luxuries, creativity, empathy, long-term planning. And this is the level of safety. And we think safety is simple: a roof over our heads, a lock on the door. But our brain plays by different rules. It needs not just physical, but psychological safety. This is a term coined by Harvard Business School professor Amy Edmondson. It's the assurance that your world won't collapse tomorrow. Predictability, the absence of background, chronic anxiety. Our introductory character has money, but does he have the assurance that he won't be fired? That his business won't fail? That his status is stable? A brain in a state of anxiety is like a computer with 90% of its RAM occupied by a single process, scanning for threats. There are simply no resources left for creativity, empathy, or self-actualization itself. You try to launch the latest game, but a background antivirus program devours all the processing power. The game will lag and crash. You can earn millions, but if your brain is constantly operating in survival mode, it will never switch to growth mode. This isn't a metaphor. A Princeton University study showed that constant worry about finances reduces cognitive capacity by an amount equivalent to 13 IQ points. That's like going without sleep for an entire night, every single day. And it's not about poverty, it's about predictability. A freelancer with high but unstable income can experience a greater cognitive deficit than an employee with half the salary but guaranteed income. Your brain doesn't see a bank account. It sees a toxic boss, an unstable market, uncertainty. The amygdala, the ancient fear center, is responsible for this. It doesn't distinguish the threat of being fired from a saber-toothed tiger in the bushes. And as long as the tiger is near, thinking about higher pursuits is pure suicide. Okay, let's say you've created this island of safety for yourself. The anxiety is gone, but the emptiness remains. Why? Because next, another trap awaits us. A social one. You've escaped the tiger, but now you face another primal terror, the risk of tribal expulsion. This is a hunger for belonging, and it forces us to play very dangerous games. And here we confuse two entirely different concepts: acceptance and belonging. Acceptance is when you wear a mask to fit in with a group. You're accepted for who you pretend to be. Belonging is when a group accepts the real you, without the mask. Our introductory character was accepted into the club of the successful, but he didn't feel belonging. He played a role. Maintaining this social image is an incredibly energy-intensive process. This energy is stolen from the higher levels of the pyramid. Psychologist Roy Baumeister called this ego depletion. Your willpower is a finite resource. Every pretense, every unspoken thought, every forced smile burns through your daily energy supply. You cannot simultaneously think about self-actualization and what others think of you. The brain isn't multitasking in that regard. Imagine you have 100 units of mental energy per day. That's your budget. Maintaining the mask of success. That's a social tax. It costs 50 units. The chronic anxiety about the future we discussed, that's a payment on the fear loan. Another 30. That leaves 20 for investing in yourself. With such an economy, you're bankrupt by definition. But even if you've found your tribe, there's still another enemy within. An internal civil war begins, a battle between the reflection of others' opinions in the mirror and your inner compass. This is how you evaluate yourself, and here lies a fork in the road that decides everything. Maslow was exceptionally precise here. He divided esteem into two levels. The lower, esteem from others, status, reputation, likes. This is what he called reputation. The higher, self-esteem, based on genuine competence, on mastery, on confidence in one's abilities. He called this real strength and adequacy. The first is fragile. It can be given and it can be taken away. The second is fundamental. It belongs only to you. Relying on the first is to turn your self-esteem into an addict, constantly craving a dose of external validation. One negative comment can ruin your entire day. Praise is social sugar. A quick dopamine spike, like from candy. It's always followed by a crash and an even greater craving for another fix. Self-esteem from mastery is a complex carbohydrate. It's absorbed slowly, but it provides stable, long-lasting energy. Our character built his identity on this sugar, and when it stopped bringing joy, he was left with nothing. The way out is to stop chasing praise and focus on objective growth in your craft. Not to be validated, but to become better than you were yesterday. This is a shift from what psychologist Carol Dweck called a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. You don't prove your innate talent, you develop it. Self-esteem isn't born from applause, it's born from the quiet inner knowing, I can do this. And here we are at the summit. Safety, belonging, self-esteem, all in place. The path to self-actualization is open. But why then did Maslow, late in life in his posthumously published works, add another secret floor to his theory? He called it self-transcendence, moving beyond the confines of the self, serving something greater, an idea, science, art, helping others. If self-actualization is polishing the mirror of yourself to a perfect shine, then self-transcendence is turning that mirror into a window through which you view and serve the world. This is the final turn. Maslow arrived at this by studying the most actualized people in history: Albert Einstein, Eleanor Roosevelt. He saw that their motivation wasn't to unlock their own potential. Their goal was to solve a problem, to create something important for others. Self-actualization turned out to be merely a side effect of their service, a welcome bonus, but never the ultimate goal. Our introductory character made precisely this mistake. All his activities were self-contained. His success was ego-driven. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, an Auschwitz survivor, wrote, "Happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue." Our character chased the butterfly of happiness instead of building a garden for it to fly into naturally. This garden is the meaning that lies beyond yourself. He reached the peak of the I pyramid, but he didn't know there was another floor. We and them. The emptiness he felt is a symptom of a lack of meaning that lies beyond his personal ambitions. So how do you audit your own pyramid and create a plan to get out of the deadlock? Let's put everything into one clear protocol. First, assess your level of chronic anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. This is your nervous system's ping. If it's above 5, your survival programming is active. It will sabotage any attempts at growth. Your first task is to create predictability. Not more money, but more order and routine that calm the ancient brain. Second, list 5 people you interact with most frequently. Next to each name, write one of 2 words: energizes or drains. This is an energy audit of your environment. As Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your balance is negative, you're living in an energy deficit. You're spending all your strength maintaining a facade, not building yourself. Third, every evening for a week, write down one action that genuinely increased your competence. Not something you were praised for, but something where you objectively improved. This shifts the focus from applause to mastery. Self-esteem is the dividends from daily investments in your skills. And finally, ask yourself one question. If all my personal needs were met, what problem in the world would I want to solve? Don't expect an immediate answer. The mere act of asking this question already redirects your inner compass from the egoistic I to the collective we. This is your vector towards self-transcendence. And in the end, a crucial question for you. What do you think is the main roadblock for most people today? An unresolved issue with basic safety, or a complete lack of purpose beyond oneself? It's a choice between a crack in the foundation and a missing roof. What needs fixing first? Write just one word in the comments: safety or purpose. Let's see which is more prevalent.